I was trying my hardest to change that.
It's a cute picture though.
Yeah, I like that picture, but I wanted to use my own picture.
Right.
When I'm trying to get a logo done and everything. Um, but without further ado, because I see I have one person in the live, um, so I always like to put a message up. Let me see. Okay. Then most of my views from these interviews usually come afterwards. And they can go over. So I know in the initial email, like I always tell everybody 30 minutes, but if you have more to share or the conversation just goes over, that's fine. The first young lady I shared, we went for an hour. We talked for an hour. The second young lady, we talked for, um, how long did we talk? I think 2 hours or so.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, if we go over, we go over.
Right.
Um, so I'm just gonna let everybody get some time to come in. Let's see. And I think Scent is running errands as we're doing this live. So hello everybody out there in YouTube land. This is Candace Yvette, and I am back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing the interview. I'm going to be interviewing Miss Christian Cashell, and I'm very excited to have her on here. And guys, I'm just going to run through the rules for these kind of live streams. You all know to be respectful. You all know that after she gives her introduction and she tells us more about herself, her business, or her nonprofit organization, you know that you can ask questions at the end of these lives. These lives are meant to promote and to expose younger, and I don't even really care what your age range is. It's meant to give a positive, hey, Miss Callie, it's meant to give a
Hey.
positive and the real image of Black women, okay? Because I don't like that stereotype that the mainstream uses. And so far, y'all, these interviews have been such a blessing to me. These women have taught me some stuff, y'all. So I'm excited to introduce you all to Miss Christian Cashell. We're going to give her the floor, and as me and Jacinta we always do. I'm hating because I see you change your avatar. You see, I was struggling with that. I'm hating hard right now. But yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to go on mute and I'm going to allow Miss Christian Cashell to take the floor. Hopefully, Miss Susie Q, my moderator, will be in soon. But if she doesn't, that's fine. Because I can pretty much manage the chat by myself. But I'm going to go on mute now, and Miss Christian Cashell, you can go ahead and take it over.
Thank you, Candace. Thanks for having me. As she said, my name is Christian Cashell. I am the owner and founder of Dynamic Image Publications. It's an independent publishing company in the St. Louis metro area, and we focus on literature that creates change. So that includes fiction, nonfiction, poetry, anything that relates to our culture in a positive way. So we want to be an entertaining publishing house, but we also want our readers to get a message. I want them to grow after reading any of our works. We also are a full service self-publishing house, so I help other people publish their books. I'm an editor as well, so I've done dozens of other people's books as far as journals, devotionals, biographies, anything that you need that you write. I can clean it up and edit it and make it polished and ready for your audience. So we just really like to focus on the intention of our authors. What's your story? Everybody has a story. Everybody has something that they've grown from that can help other people. As far as a testimony, you may not think yours is a big deal, but somebody else needs your story. So what we do is take those raw emotions, that raw energy, and turn it into a professional book so that you're positioned as an author and an expert in your field, and that your audience grows from there.
That's amazing. I would have loved to have known you back when I was a teenager because poetry was my therapy. And that's
Oh,
how
yes.
yeah, I loved writing poetry. And I back in the day, I really didn't know how to get in contact with publishers or people in that field to like expose my poetry more, because I was actually very good. And when people read my poetry or they listened to me, they couldn't believe. They used to be like, wow, 14-year-old, 15-year-old wrote
Right.
this poetry. And Miss Cashelle, still to this day, I still like these poems are 20 years old and I
Mm-hmm.
still have them. Still
That's
have the poem.
awesome.
Yes. So how long have you
She,
had I'm sorry, Sin, did you want to ask
I was gonna
something?
say Candace always say she used to. She still got
Right. I
she
was gonna
has
say
it.
that too. Like you sound like
She
you got
has
to
it.
the book.
She has it, and she has good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
We're
Yes.
gonna have to get you together, girl.
Yes. Don't downplay it, girl,
Yes.
because you had me waiting for the next one. Don't play.
Oh
And
yeah,
Don't
that's
because I
play.
use
actually funny because I started writing when I was 8, right? So I wrote poetry first. And like you said, it's
Mhm.
very therapeutic. It got me through a lot of emotional things. Like I was the only child in my house, so I didn't really know. I didn't have like siblings and stuff. So I always tell my mom it's her fault that I started writing because I was making people up. That because I was bored. But writing is very therapeutic, and I started when I was 8, and I have poems in my collection that I published that are from high school. So you definitely need to get that together.
Yes, I have like a whole bunch of short stories and things that I let me give you one like rough draft synopsis of, because I had this story, right? And I was gonna name it y'all remember the Serenity Prayer? Y'all know
Mm-hmm.
how the Serenity Prayer goes? I was gonna name it like I forgot how it goes. Look, I forgot how it goes, but I was gonna name it after the Serenity Prayer, but the main character, her name was gonna be Serenity. And
Mm.
Serenity was gonna be like a biracial young woman, and her mother was a black woman, and her father was a man of no color. But she never grows up knowing that she's biracial. She's raised
Oh, okay.
mainly by her maternal grandmother, and she has a best friend who is a white woman, and her and this white woman end up being roommates in college, and she finds out that this white woman is her sister, her half sister. They share the same
Oh.
father. And she goes home with the white woman one day. I forgot what I was gonna name this character. And she goes home with her, and she finds out that her half sister has been getting like raped or essayed or
Mm.
s word abused. And her sister, because at this point she's tired of it, and she ends up taking the life of their father. And
Mm.
she lies and says Serenity did it. And so she gets out because the father's like well known. He's in the politics, he's into the government and all of that. And she ends up like they take her word for it, and Serenity is locked up for it. And so
I need you
Serenity,
to stop and don't give all this plot away and write it down because that
See what
was
I'm
too
I,
good.
saying?
And I
Now
don't
you
need nobody to
see
steal that
what
from
I'm
you.
talking about.
Yeah, no, we
look,
gotta
I got me
stop.
over
You
here.
gave too much. That needs
Look,
to
my
be
two
written
cents.
down. That's a movie right there.
Yeah, and like I had this because I was kind of like you, Cashelle, growing up. I wasn't an only child, but because I was my mother's like only big girl, her only chubby kid, I often hung out by myself. I really didn't have
Mm.
anything in common with my brothers and sisters because they were interested in things I wasn't interested in. So, you know, it's amazing that you said you used to make characters up in your head, because that's what I
Mhm.
did. And, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, I can come up, y'all, with a story out of nothing. Like I had another one. I'm not gonna say much, you know. I'm gonna take your advice, but I'm gonna just because just talking to you takes me back, and I'm like, why did me and this young lady like why did we not befriend each other? Why did we not grow up in the
It
same
Yeah.
wasn't
city? 'Cause
time yet. You had to get
yes,
what did I say
Right.
earlier? Divine character.
Amen.
What did I say this morning today? I can't even think. Y'all know I ain't rap.
you know you text paragraphs.
I know I can't help it.
It's
Divine
divine
development.
alignment, right?
Divine
Yeah.
character development. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There we go. I knew
Yeah.
For
it was
sure.
gonna come up.
Yeah, and I I just want to interject real quick and put this quick disclaimer out. I forgot to put it out over the other two interviews. But if you all know anybody, if anybody in the audience or Miss Cashelle, you yourself, I know you got two other authors who are going to be hopefully scheduling interview as well. But I encourage you all to let them come up. I don't care if it's a business or whatever. These are free interviews. They can come up. I'm going to keep them up. I'm going to post the links in the description box or the comment section. And the door is always open. So if Miss Cashelle wants to come back, if Miss Ashley Banks will be coming back. If Crystal Hilson wants to come back, they can. Okay. So I'm keeping the door open. And whenever these young ladies want to come back, and if God blesses this channel to grow and continue to grow, they'll be able to come on here and further, share their work with us. Okay. But
and when, not if, when he blesses you to grow.
yes.
Exactly. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, okay, let me tell you what she did for me, what Candace did for me. Now, I've not ever thought about writing a book per se, but I take notes, and I take notes, and then I basically I turn them around and make it to where it makes sense to me. And anyway, she challenged me to write a devotional.
Okay.
And so ever since the beginning of the year, I have been making notes for a devotional. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I it never was a thought of mine. But when she said it, I was like, you know what? That is so true because my biggest thing is I always give out stuff where it's helpful, but at the end of the day, we sometimes we have to monetize certain things that so we can grow our passion.
For sure.
And so when she said that, I was like, you know what? Because like she said, I don't write sentences. I write whole paragraphs. But because when I get started, I'm like, oh, don't forget this part. Oh, don't forget that part. But then I want it to be like a little, like those little calendar devotional type deals.
Mm-hmm.
I love those. I have about 5 or 6 of them. And one of them have gotten to the point where it's not even none of the words from the original thing. It's like taped up my own.
Right.
It's my own things that I've taped up on there. Yeah. So it's just like, so how would a person who knows nothing about that but has the determination and the drive to at least try, what do you suggest?
I say research. And so just like Candace was saying earlier, not having that person that you could reach out to when you were younger, that was kind of why I started my business. So when I wrote my first novel that I published. I wrote it in high school, but I published it in 2009. The genre that I was writing in, I didn't see any companies catering to that. It was more so urban fiction, and mine was a little closer to Christian fiction, but it wasn't fully Christian fiction. So I decided to do it myself, and just researching and seeing what needed to be done and having that desire to push it out. So now that my company, I have those resources. I've been doing this it'll be 16 years next month. So like for my page, you can go on my website. I have free resources on how to start outlines. I give free publishing classes. I do a Cash Talk Tuesday where if I get the same question in my inbox, I'll kind of discuss it on my Facebook Live. So there's a lot of options now to get free resources, but then you also have options to hire people. So like I tell my clients, just write. I don't want you to think about editing. I don't want you to think about what it sounds like. I just want you to get your raw thoughts out. So your paragraphs, keep writing those. And then it's your editor's job to say, okay, if we're going to do this book, what's the intention? And then we pull from what you've written to get that intention. But if it's not there, then we can't pull nothing from it. So I definitely would say write without caution and utilize your resources.
All right, that's good stuff right there.
Yeah, and one thing that I realized that always caught me up, like even because I have like a bunch of different talents. I write, I bake,
Mhm.
I do a lot. But one thing that seems to always slow me down is trying to edit it, making sure it sounds right and everything's spelled right.
Yep.
And that would always slow me down. Or like with the book that I was telling you all about earlier, I one thing that really stopped me is because I was because I wanted it to sound real. I wanted this to
Right.
I wanted when people read it, they question like, is this based on a true story?
Right.
So I don't know a lot. I didn't know at the time a lot about the law and how the law works and things
Mhm.
like that. So I paused and instead of educating myself, I just stopped. But one of the things, because I had a couple questions here, but the first
Mhm.
question that came to mind as you were talking was like, have you ever taken up teaching? Because you kind of sound like a teacher or a professor.
So what's funny is I do have my MFA in creative writing, which is what you usually get if you want to teach creative writing, but I never wanted to teach. But once I realized that a lot of people in my network wanted to know about publishing but didn't know, I kind of just informally did it through like Facebook or webinars on my website. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a teacher, but I guess so. I'm
And
kind of
when
transitioning into that.
Yeah, because you sound like a creative or a creative writer, like a creative teacher. And like some of the things that you said, like I remember hearing in English, like back
Right.
in college and like not even high school level, but when I was in college, because one thing that I would ace everybody on was writing essays and writing papers and
Mm.
stuff. And people, not to blasting people today, but I often got paid on the side to
Okay,
do people
listen,
homework,
I didn't do plenty of papers, so I understand. It's
Not
and so
LC,
me.
like
okay?
I was like, no, no, you're gonna have to learn how to do this because
Oh
see,
yeah. After a
I
while,
wrote
I
a
was
lot
like,
like that.
no, I ain't doing no research papers, but I do the little,
mhm.
little essays and stuff. But yeah, no, it's I understand.
In
Like I have
retrospect, I wish I would have had that drive, but I didn't have the entrepreneurial spirit at that time.
Well, see, I was starting a company, so I knew I needed some extra funds. I'm like, you gonna pay me to write this paper, then let me go on and do it.
mhm. Hmm. And I always did it for everybody who because at the time I went to college, everybody was trying to go back to college. Everybody. It
Mm-hmm.
was people who were trying to go back to college who didn't even have a high school diploma yet. So they were taking
Mm,
GED classes and
right.
going to college. But gosh, I had a question I wanted to ask you. See, this is why that sin you did say write them down. I have
Yeah.
so many questions. I have so
Well, I
many.
do have a question. Could you is it would you be able to run it down like in a simplified way of how the process goes to publishing um a book per se?
I can try to simplify it. So the biggest thing I say is you have to decide why you're writing the book because that's going to drive a lot of the decisions that you make. So you have so many avenues now. A lot of people self-publish, but some people want to be traditionally published by the big five. So there's the big five publishers that kind of control the majority of books globally, but they may have like smaller imprints, but you're still under them. Or you want to
Mhm.
self-publish. So a lot of people are writing books as experts in their field, so they already have platforms. So they're like, I can self-publish. If they're just wanting to get their thoughts out or testimonies, they may think, I want to self publish, but I don't really know how. So it's kind of that question kind of drives which way you go. So once you decide that, you can kind of decide what you're going to put into it. So if you self publish, everything is on you, right? So you have to be I always say budget for an editor. I'm an editor, but I'm also a writer, so I get that some of the things may not be in your budget, but I have an editor. I don't edit my own work. And I give it to her
Mhm.
raw. I write the first draft and I give it to her because I when I'm writing, I see what is supposed to be there, so I may not be thinking about what should be there, if that makes sense. So when you get fresh eyes on it as an editor, you have somebody who can, say, no, you're missing this or you're doing that. So I would never say edit your own work. But editing is definitely the first step. And what a lot of people don't know is you're supposed to start promoting your book at least 6 months before it comes out. That's what the
Oh,
professionals say.
mm-hmm.
Right. So you see a lot of times where people will be like, oh, my book comes out next month. It's not what you're supposed to do. It happens because I've done it as well. But if you're wanting to do like a really successful launch, they say 3 to 6 months. So, but you can do that during the editing process. So really it's kind of like an outline. And I do actually have a checklist on my website that's free that gives you the steps on what you need to do if you want to self-publish. But that's the basic first thing is to decide if you're going to self-publish or traditionally publish, if that makes sense.
And like, so now my questions are everywhere because they're just
That's
coming
fine.
as you.
Yeah.
But the first question I had was like, how did dynamic image come to be? Like, and I know there was two other authors who at first I thought you all were going to interview together. Now it's fine that you're interviewing separate. That's no problem. I'm excited. Like either way, it's fine. I'm very flexible. But I just wonder like how it came to about and like how did you guys like form the foundation? How did you all
Yeah.
meet?
So it's actually funny, and I might be showing my age, but I met most of the girls that I work with during like the B2K phase when they were like
Oh,
all over the place.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had a message board where we used to write fan fiction, and like we would write
wow.
stories about them, like put ourselves in it. And I met these girls because we would all write similar stories, and we kind of formed a bond. And there was one in particular. She's not with the company anymore, but she's the reason why I started. She wrote so well, and I was just like, I want to publish her books. So I kind of, like I was saying with my book, it was a mix between urban fiction and Christian fiction. And when we all decided that we were going to write, I was like, well, I'm gonna make the company and we're gonna publish our books. Like we don't need nobody else. Like in hindsight, I had no idea what I was doing. Like I just knew that I wanted to do it. So I've actually my team, we've been friends probably since high school. And so as the company began to grow, I just started giving them jobs like, okay, hey, I need you to be an editor. I need you to do this. And the two authors that I wanted to schedule for you, one is started out with me, and one I actually just met a couple years ago. So I have published three other authors outside of me in my company, and we have about 13 books so far. So it was a friendship that formed into a business.
Nice. Nice. Now, do you all have, do you guys do any kind of mentorships for younger girls that's into the
Is it me?
writing and,
Can you all hear
That's
me?
actually something. Yeah, we can hear
yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
Okay.
That's actually something that I've been drafting. I'm trying to get in partnership with my local Y to do something with younger girls. I haven't done it yet, but it is on my heart to do so. I've
Mhm.
been involved in some, but our company hasn't done any specifically. But I'm definitely working on that. So that's something that I want to do this year.
You think you might expand that to
Oh, absolutely.
because
Yeah.
what if they're not
I
local?
listen. I feel like everybody has a story to tell. So from younger girls on up, right? Like Candace said, writing is therapeutic. So even if you're not looking to do it as a business, I think it's an
Mhm.
awesome way to get your emotions out, process your feelings. A lot of times I feel like I'm an emotional dump. So me writing stuff down gives me time to process it like, okay, I might not need to tell everybody this, but at
Mhm.
least I got it out. So I definitely think that would be something that would be open to all ages.
How I'm Candace. You got a question? I have one, but I'll remember it.
Oh, I'll let you go.
O- Okay, I was gonna ask, how has the with the attention span of everybody now, including myself, I tend to go to Audible for most
Mm-hmm.
books. How has that affected the actual that realm of things? How has it affected you during this time?
I think it's just made us more flexible. So in the beginning, like my earlier books were like 300 pages, 350 pages, because I wrote like that. So I recently, because of the attention span, we actually put out an audiobook for a devotional last year. And then I started writing novellas this year because they're really popular. So it's just being able to pivot, but still staying true to my writing style, but realizing, okay, the audience wants something shorter. So I'll 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 make a book, but then I'll have a series. So it's like I can still continue it like a novel, but it'll still kind of
Mhm.
feel like a novella to them. So it's just being flexible. With
Nice.
business, you have to be anyway, So
And me personally, I'm a sequel kind of girl. Like
mhm.
I'm in my mid 30s, and back in the day, I grew up like the first couple books I read that were written by Black women. I probably shouldn't have been reading them, but they were my
I
mom's,
probably already
and
know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. At first, it was Terry McMillan, and then
Mhm.
I switched over to Sister Soldier, and
Ooh, I
Sister
love them.
Soldier.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I got into Mary Monroe in my late
Mm.
high school years, in my late teens, and like I like crime books as well, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I'm wondering with all this high tech stuff going on, and like I'm an Audible girl myself, especially when I'm baking, and I know I can't exactly sit down and read a book. I
Right.
still want to, so I guess I'm curious. I don't really know how to form the question I'm trying to form, but I'm curious about the future of books, and with in this technology age, and like where do you feel like it's going with all this new technology, because I know we have the ebooks and things like that now, but it seems like so many people don't really have the time to sit down and read anymore, and that's sad, um,
Mhm.
especially for somebody like me, because I love sitting down and reading. And those authors, like even though, like for example, Mary Monroe, like
Mhm.
I have personally met her and I've talked to her, which is a
Oh,
blessing, but your their books, you end up connecting with them through their stories and stuff like that, and like as somebody like myself who loved the library, came up in the library, I used to go to the library every day after school. Like I don't want to see the libraries disappear. I don't want to see so I'm wondering, like, what do you think is the next big turn for the literature world?
I actually think a lot of people are turning back to physical books,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the pandemic, being able to be home and have that option, that luxury to
Yes.
sit and read a book. I think,
Mm-hmm.
especially we're on TikTok now. A lot of people are showing off their bookshelves and how they have them organized by color or author.
Yes.
So a lot of people are actually getting back to actual physical books. Audiobooks are very popular right now for that reason. Like you said, people are multitasking. I personally can't do it because I feel like I kind of zone out and I'm like, what did he say? Like, what chapter am I on? And I love to be immersed in books. So I'm like, I want to sit
Mhm.
and put all my focus into it. But as a company publishing, that's why we have to make all of our books available on all of these platforms to cater
Mhm.
to the audience. So my topic may be good, but somebody may be like, oh, I want it on an audiobook. So I'll try to make them available on all platforms. Audiobooks are a
Mhm.
little bit harder for me just because I'm a little picky, especially with
Mhm.
fiction. Like I feel like I want it to be a whole production. I want 50 different voices,
Yeah,
male
you gotta
voice, and
have
a
the
cute writer.
narrator right.
Yeah. So we did it with our our devotional book because it was just her voice. So that was an easier one to do. But I just think being flexible, like I said, on all platforms, like you can get my book on ebook or a physical book. However you choose to read it is up to you. But I definitely do
Mhm.
do think people are getting back to the physical books. I love the
Yeah.
smell of
And that's
it.
exciting to hear, because like y'all don't know how much of a nerd I am. Like I'm so much of a nerd. It used to be this older Black woman who used to she was kind of like a mentor to me. Like I met her down at the public library, and she was
Mm.
so crazy about like books to where she taught me how to not doggy ear the corners,
Oh,
get up. I miss that.
yes.
I miss that. Since you know what I
Yes.
mean, like I really miss that. I really miss going
Hmm.
to the library, and now I'm glad because the library they have. Back in the day, we wasn't allowed to bring food and none of that in the library.
Right.
You can go in, have your little coffee, pick up
Hmm.
something from Starbucks or whatever, and chill out. And like I'm happy to hear that. But I also wanted to ask you, like, has anybody ever hired you to be a ghostwriter, or have you ever been interested in ghostwriting?
I have I have been a ghostwriter. It's not something that I promote that I do. And the reason being is because I am also an author. It's hard for me to switch my voice off and write in somebody else's voice.
Hmm.
And if the person who needs a ghostwriter isn't sure on their topic or their subject, it's hard for me to actually process the information. So if you come to me and say, "Hey, this is my idea, this is what I need, bullet points," I can do that. But if it's just like a general idea, it was a little bit of a struggle to keep my voice
Hmm.
separate when they didn't have their own voice.
Hmm.
So if it's a little hard. So people have asked me about it. I did it once, and it wasn't really my cup of tea,
Hmm.
but it's
See,
something. Yeah.
I
Usually,
was.
what I'll say is developmental editing to me is a better option. So even
Hmm.
if you feel like so some people need a ghostwriter when they don't have the time. Some people do it
Hmm.
because they think they can't write. And I can work with that as an editor. Even if you think you can't write, I've had somebody send me blocks of text without paragraphs, anything, but I can edit that because it's there. So don't get a ghostwriter just because you think you can't write. But if you just don't have the time, then you can do it. But I think it's a difference between the two.
Okay, my
Okay.
my thing went out. What is a ghostwriter?
A ghostwriter is basically someone who takes an
Did
idea
you
from
already talk about
somebody else
that?
and writes the entire book, but the person whose idea it is gets credit.
So do you say you are hired as a ghostwriter, would you get like I know like you would be in the background, but how is it like as far as financially? Like do you get half of that? Like how does that work?
So a lot of ghostwriters do it differently. I charge per hour for ghostwriting. So
Mhm.
you have to factor in how long you're going to be working on the book, right?
Mhm.
If you have to do any research, they need to be paying for that. They're also going to pay for your experience, right? So if I've been writing for 20 years and I have more experience than someone starting out, you're going to be charging for that as well. And then you're also charging to give up the rights. So even though it's their story, you're fleshing it out, but your name is not on that book. So it's like a ghostwriter in rap. Like they always hint at people having ghostwriters, but you don't see them
Mhm.
anywhere around the album, right? You just hear about it.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like what a ghostwriter does.
Okay. And then I'm gonna ask this for the younger women. Like say I am a younger woman and I want to like follow in your footsteps and I want to do what you did. Like what cuz I honestly ask myself this not only with just women like yourself but cuz I have a sister and Scent knows
Mhm.
about her. Scent knows that I drill her ears off about her because my sister she used to be in the medical field. What is it, 2022? So I would say about 12 years ago, she like survived cancer. She had breast cancer and
Mhm.
all, and she survived it. And while she was going through like endometriosis, having hives growing on her hands and feet, her hair loss,
Mhm.
a double mastectomy, and she was young. She was in her 20s,
Oh
going through
wow.
all of that. Single mother, worked every day, 12 to 16 hours a day. She built up a makeup company. And at
Mm.
first, the makeup company was for cancer patients. It was to make cancer patients feel beautiful. And she did it on the
Oh.
side. Today, her company is worth between 15 and 20 million.
Okay.
And she has sold makeup to Beyonce, to Oprah, to Gabby Douglas, a lot of different people.
That's
But one of the
amazing.
things, yeah, but one of the things that I find amazing about women like you is like you took something, you took a dream and you made it reality. So how did you get from, because you said you and these two friends, like you just said, like you said you didn't know what you were doing, and that's remarkable to somebody like me. You said you didn't know what you were doing. You just said to your friends, you said, you know what, we're gonna do this. Not only was it remarkable that you stuck to your word, but you know, oftentimes, and I hate that women get a bad rep and they often tell us that we can't work together and things like
Mm-mm.
that. But and to see you not only have built this company and taken it from an idea and made it reality, but have done it with two other women, I'm just curious. And I'm kind of, even though I'm in my 30s, I'm kind of like a little girl mode. Like you brought me back because writing, I did it mostly in my teens.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, how did you get from just having this idea and making it reality, and you and these friends y'all stuck together through that? I find that amazing.
I really think just having support. So like I always wanted to be a writer. My mom tells people that when I was younger, I said I wanted to write, and she allowed me to do that. Like she bought
Mm-hmm.
me a computer. She did, she put things in place for me for that passion to grow, and I always had that support and being
Mm-hmm.
willing to learn. Like I thought I knew what I was doing, and I quickly found out I didn't. But not
Mm-hmm.
taking it personal when people were reaching out to me like, "Hey, you need to do this or you need to do that." Especially if they were in positions that I wanted to be in, and I knew
Mm-hmm.
that this was what I wanted to do. I knew I was going to have to be flexible and be like, okay, well, I tried that and it didn't work. You got to be
Mm-hmm.
resilient like you are in like in life pretty much. It's
Yeah,
just
because I always wonder how like women like yourself get over the bumps and hurdles. And like you said, like one thing that you said that really stuck out to me, you said, I didn't know how we were going to
mhm.
do this. I didn't know. So to see where you are today, and you know, like I went to the website and I thought it was amazing.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And yeah, because back in the day, I'm like Sin, I don't know if you remember, Sin is a little older than me, but I don't know if she remembers, but back in the day, like in the writing
A
world,
little bit.
I used to try to write. I used to try to write like Essence magazine, Jet,
Mhm.
Ebony, all these different magazines at that time. They had these little publishers corners in the
Mhm.
magazine. I used to always want to get on those, but it was something like within me that said, okay, maybe this is out of your reach. You know, so a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand, and I know Sin is very patient with me. Sin is about the only friend I have that's very patient, because when I bring up my sister, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna get her spill out, and then we'll move on." Because I always bring her up. But back in the day, I like it always felt like there was a block between
Mhm.
myself and what I wanted. It almost felt like what I was dreaming for was just too big or above me, you know.
Right.
And so when I seen my sister, like back in 2011, she was making these beautiful gift boxes for Beyonce and sending her
Mhm.
makeup to Beyonce and things like that. And she was taking her first trip overseas to Japan and everything. So when I seen that, something hit and was like, it can be done, you know. But like I don't even, I just find that amazing that you said I didn't know, but you did it though. You did it,
Yeah.
found a way, you know. And
Because you
for
got
my
to think it's gonna get
mhm,
done, right? God,
right.
God has missions that's gonna get carried out whether we do it or not. So why not
Mhm.
us? Why not your sister? You know what I'm saying? Why not you? Because if I don't do it, somebody gonna do
Amen.
it, and then I'm gonna be sick. Like, dang, I had that idea 10 years ago. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and then like one thing with Cassie, is Cassie like a drill sergeant. Cassie, when
Like,
she does talk to me, like this is even before she came into her millions. Like when we were kids, she used to
mm,
like it was nothing off limits. She would take risks, you know, and
right.
like into our early 20s, like Cassie has a daughter or whatever, and she was a single mom at that time. And you know, it was just no excuse. And like
Right.
anything that you know she had planned or she wanted to do, or like she would call me. I'm her littler sister, I'm her younger sister. So she would be like, Candace, you know, I don't care what's going on. I don't care that the babysitter canceled. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. You need to get up. You need to get this done. And so The one thing that I'm going to start doing, and I'm glad I asked you that question, but in the future interviews, because the first two ladies were amazing as well, but I'm going to start asking ladies that come on here to interview with me, like what helped you keep the faith? What helped you keep going? You know what I mean? Because I do. That's remarkable. Like, especially like writing was huge to me back in the day, Miss Cashelle. Like I used to do poetry jams and all. Writing was my passion, but
Writing is
uh
life.
yes, yes. And those books, like people don't understand, like you can like escape, you know. So when I had
Mm.
a lot of stuff, hi Shelly, when I had a lot of stuff going on in my
That's
life,
my
and
auntie.
that's your auntie?
Yeah.
Hi, Auntie Shelly. But yeah, so that one statement, like we can say some stuff sometimes, and we don't realize how remarkable that one statement is. Because you said I did not know, Candace, I did not know what I was doing, but I just went along. I said this is what I'm going to do, and I did it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so that's amazing to me. So, like, what kept you going, like through those challenging moments when you faced adversity and all?
I would definitely say my mom and the girls on my team. Like I'll have moments where I'll be like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna just write and I'm gonna just keep it to myself. Like I'm done, and
Mhm.
they're like, no, you're not. Or and then honestly, there's moments where God will show me, okay, this is what I was supposed to be doing. Like I would get a
Mhm.
review on one of my books where somebody would be like, I reread this book because it touched me so much, or just someone reaching out saying I
Mhm.
identified with one of your characters. Like those are the moments where it's like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this. So it kind of takes
Mhm.
the pressure off of me when I know, like, even if I stopped publishing, I would still be writing. So why not publish? Why not have this
Mhm.
opportunity to do this? And I actually became full time with my business last year. So this is really
Awesome.
kind of like the first time where it's like I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really happening, and it's still bumps along the way, and it's things that we're gonna
Mhm.
learn, but it was my
Mhm.
passion, so it was like I didn't have a choice.
And then my next question is like, what's the future of your business? Where do you see your business going in 5 years and 10 years?
So we want to transition into film. Um,
Awesome. Look, I'm getting goosebumps, girl. You don't know. I'm excited. I'm
I
excited.
always, if people will always be like, "When you gonna make a film out your books?" And I'm like, I think I would want like a fresh idea, but I'm definitely wanting to do some type of like YouTube series, some type of scripted something.
Yeah, and I don't
So
know if
we're
you know,
definitely working
Miss
on that.
Cashelle. I'm
Hmm?
excited, girl. I got goosebumps. Like so far, I've only had 3 of these interviews, and every one of you ladies have literally like it's just like fireworks over here. I'm lit
That's
up, you know.
awesome.
But
Yeah, and I'm planning. I want to do a book festival in the Midwest because that's
yeah,
where we are. A lot of times I've had to travel like to LA, Atlanta. There's nothing really for Black
mhm.
authors in this area, so I'm planning to do that.
And
And
when
then
you do, if you make it public,
I
send
got
me
you.
the stuff, and I'll push it on my page. I'll
It will
push it
be
and make sure
public. Yes,
people know about
ma'am.
and you know Tubi, I found a PDF, but you can like Tubi, you know, it's the free streaming the movie
Yeah.
service,
Mm-hmm.
but you can make a movie through them just to start out. It's a lot of college kids in film who are making movies through Tubi. Like I don't know if that's, you know,
Okay.
but it's something I
Yeah.
wanted to
I
throw
just
out there.
haven't decided on the plot yet. I'm like all over the place with my different ideas, so I definitely have to decide what's gonna come first.
What's your favorite genre?
Oh, um, I'm very eclectic when it comes to reading and watching movies. I love romantic
Mhm.
comedies. I love mysteries. The
Mhm.
only thing I don't really mess with is horror films or horror books,
Yes,
but
I
everything
can't.
else is up for grabs.
And then what's your favorite book? Like what's your favorite book from another author? And then what's your favorite book of your own?
My favorite book from another author is Thieves Paradise by Eric Jerome Dickey. It was the first book that I read that I felt like I could publish because of him. So he was a
Oh, and I
very
loved him. And he just
yeah,
passed away, didn't
yes, and I was so hurt because I actually had an opportunity to meet him, at a Houston Book
Wow.
Festival, and I was so like starstruck that I didn't go speak to him, and
Mhm.
it was always like a running joke, like I'm gonna redeem myself, I'm gonna talk to him next time, and I never got to, so it hurt my feelings so much. But he's definitely one of my biggest inspirations in the writing world. Um,
Mhm.
my favorite book that I've written, I try not to tell people because I feel like I'm picking from my babies.
Yeah.
But my favorite probably is Revisions of Life. It's about three people who meet in a creative writing class and their lives change when they meet each other. One is a
Mhm.
single father, one is a recovering sex addict, and one is a author whose
Wow.
last book flopped. So they're
So
very different.
is it on is it like you can you
Mhm.
send me a link to
Yeah,
it? Because I
it's available
like
on
it's like what,
Amazon.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I'll buy it. I'll
yeah,
buy
I'll
it,
send
you
it to
know.
you.
What genre is it?
It's drama slash fiction. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it was the first book that I wrote as an adult. The rest of them were books that I published from when I wrote them in high school. So it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like my coming of age book.
Awesome. And another question I had was if I am like a young author and like I've been writing like for example like myself,
Mhm.
but I'm younger, like say in high school, and I want to publish something or I want to get connected with somebody who can help me publish my work. How would I go about that?
I would definitely say reach out to me. There are a lot of resources on our website, but I also offer consultations. So even if
Mhm.
it's just you wanting to talk it out with somebody and you're not really deciding on if you want to self-publish or not, it's definitely a conversation where I can kind of walk you through any questions that you have. And then,
Mhm.
like I said, just do your research. Look at some of the books that you like to read, and see who published it. And go to their
Mhm.
website and see if they're, open for submissions if you want to go that route. But definitely don't be afraid to take the risk because there's somebody who needs to read the book that you don't want to put out.
Awesome. So, Cint, do you have any other questions?
I'm hoping and praying that my internet, I don't know, it's like a wind thing going on over here and it's throwing my stuff off.
Oh, you in Tornado Nation? Where you at?
Ooh, we definitely had a bad storm here last night.
Yeah, it was. It was bad. It was bad here last night as well. It was it
Hello,
was
can you
it was
hear?
horrible.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
you kind of Borging a
Mhm.
little bit.
Okay, so I was going to say, I will listen to this later, and then if I have questions, I will put it in the um for follow up because I'm trying to help and say it before I go out. Because every time it gets to a good part, it goes. I'm like, no. I'm
Or
walking
put
around
it
the
in the
house with
private
it,
chat,
trying to get
Cent.
everything. I mean, it's been.
Oh, she went
Uh,
out again.
oh man, and that
Yeah, but
that was
definitely, we're on all social media platforms. I answer my
mhm,
DMs. It's a lot of. I love talking about reading. I love talking about writing. So if anybody has a question about how to get started, like I said, our blog has resources on how to start an outline, how to get over writer's block, all of that. Like
mhm.
I'm ready
Oh,
to talk
that's
about
something
it.
I got to
So
look into.
yes,
The writer's
I'm
block.
gonna send you some stuff anyway because I want you to write that book you was talking about.
Thank you. Look, and I was into it too. And you was like, hold on,
Yeah,
Candace,
I'm like,
no.
"Oh, no, you gotta
Yeah,
save
because
that.
it
We need
gets
to market
deeper.
that."
Yes, because I was in like the schools, the city and state where I'm from, the different high schools, they specialize and they focus on different like specialties. So we had
Oh,
one high
okay,
school
special
that
magnet school.
focuses on, yeah, like so it was one high school that focused on the medical field. It was another one for
Mhm.
engineering. And the high school that I was in, even though I didn't like it, it was for drama and the arts. And
Okay. Yeah, I wish I had something like that growing up.
yes, and like some of my work ended up getting published in the yearbook at that time, and they
Oh,
had another book. It was just like the yearbook. I forget what it's called, but my poetry was always in those. Some of the high school boys, like the older boys, like even when I was my freshman year of high school, they would hire me to write poetry for their girlfriend.
Oh,
Or they would,
okay.
so I was so upset when I could not take that further, because like
Yeah.
they would start approaching me like in January, and I'm this little
Getting
freshman and he
together
got
for
this senior.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, get me ready for Valentine's. Or they would share the girls' notes with me, and there would be like notes that they didn't know how to respond to. So all the time
Oh,
sometimes it would be
that's so
funny.
cute.
It would be funny because it would be a note, right? And the guy would come to me and he would say, I don't know how to like communicate with her. I don't know what she wants with me,
Right.
because it was the basic, right? And I would be ghostwriting, because my like even during lunch hour, I would skip lunch. And back in the day, I was a big girl. I wasn't missing no meals, but I would skip lunch and I would hang out in
Right.
the library and just write. And
That's
they
so
would give me those
cute.
letters. Yes, honey. And they would give me their love letters. I would write them up. I would actually print them, and give them
Mm-hmm.
back to them and tell them everything that I wrote and this say to her. And it would be so funny because you was like me as a freshman, I would see this senior high school
Right.
couple walking in hand to hand, and this girl don't realize I wrote that
Right.
stuff.
Like I did that. That's my work.
Yeah. And the guy would be walking past and he would look over her shoulder and wink
Like,
at me like, hey,
thanks.
thank you. So
That's
that
so
was always
funny.
funny. So
Yes.
just
Oh,
like
Candace, did you ever get
yeah,
a chance to do the Young Authors Club?
the young no ma'am. What I don't believe I've ever heard about it. Can you tell me
I
what it
did, and
is?
I never got past the first round. They never let me get past the first round.
What is it?
It's like a contest. Well, at our school, it was like a contest where you submitted a story and it went
Hmm.
through different rounds, and it was like a presentation where you won an award if you got so many votes or
Oh
something.
wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, I would have met my competition back in the day, Sin, because some of the boys that I was writing for, they was writing raps and they was real creative. It was this one guy, Sin, who because I was telling the last young lady who came on with me, she came on, today is Friday. I'm so busy, Cashelle. I mean, Miss Cashelle, that I get my days and nights mixed up. So she came on, I think she was on Wednesday, and I was telling her like it was a lady who ran this girls group, and this other interviewee, she was a counselor. So I was telling
Mm.
her, I said I was in this group, and this lady ran the group. Her name was Miss Connie, and yeah, but this man made like a group just like Miss Connie's for boys, and
Mm.
he started to model everything or copy everything that Connie did. So like where
Dang.
she would take me to poetry jams, or
Right.
she would do like she would take us to poetry jams. We would do fashion shows and stuff like that. The man for the boys, he would model it. And it was this one boy who wrote poetry. And every time I was at the poetry jam, he would show up at the poetry jam. And he turned it into this battle thing. I still remember
Right.
that name to this day. I'm like, man, like you still in my fire. You still in my thunder.
Right.
So I wasn't willing to share the space. So like that sounds like a good idea. I think back in the day I probably would have liked it, but then again, I didn't know how to handle competition back in the
Right.
day.
Oh yeah. Well, they still. I think it's working now, y'all. Okay,
Yeah.
so they
Mhm.
still have it, but they do it so much differently because the kids aren't interested. I've signed my kids up for it every year, and they give me that same look every time, and I'm like,
Really?
I'm so hyped. Like I even stay for the parent part. I be looking like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, and they like, mm. They be like, do we
Dang.
have to? I mean, because it's an all day thing. Like it started at
Yeah.
7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you
Yeah.
there like all day.
Mhm.
I'm amped the whole time. I'm pumped up like,
Yeah, and do you just focus on creative writing, or do you focus on other aspects of writing, um like I know some writers, they write textbooks for colleges. Some of them write,
Hmm.
they help write because it's different forms of writing.
Yeah. I haven't done any textbooks, but a lot of my clients, I have a lot of clients who are in doctoral programs, so I help with their dissertations. I have a lot
Wow.
of minister clients who I've helped with like sermons or
Mhm.
devotionals. So my client wise, I do all different genres.
Wow. See, I'm glad I asked that, and that's why, because some of the women that have came up here just with these three interviews, I'm learning that you all have hidden talents. Okay,
Mm.
and it's not just one thing. You
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
Then I think you're trying to come up again.
Oh,
We
what?
got you on here.
Oh my goodness.
Hold on. It's 2 cents, but yeah, but yeah, so I know that some people have hidden talents, and that's why I asked, because I
Yeah.
figured that you were probably one of those people. But let's see if I had any more questions. The other two authors, are they just like fictional authors, or will they be sending me
So
over? Hmm.
one of them is a fictional author, and one actually has a fiction that's based on her life. And then she also
Oh,
wrote our devotional. It's called Save Top Mess, and it's really good. So
mhm.
I think she'll probably be the first one to reach out to you for an interview.
Okay.
Awesome.
I
And
just wanted
so
to add this part before I go out
mhm.
again. I'm so sorry. So the reason why I think that they were not interested is because the only places that I noticed that they're having it is the schools that are predominantly white.
Gotcha.
It was like that for me too, but
Hmm.
I was the only. I was like me. It was only me and only one other black kid in my class. It was a
Yeah.
boy. They made us do square dancing and everything. He was always my partner on field trips and everything. So
I'm
yes, I
sorry,
can do
sis.
see do. I can
Yeah.
do see do. I can do the funky chicken. They done taught me all that, but I think that's what it was. I think that's why the kids were not that thrilled about it. But that's because I was used to that. I think
Right.
that's what it is. So I was getting
Mhm.
there to ask, do you think that would be something in that area where you would do something like that where the kids can feel like they can relate, like somebody that look like them?
Absolutely. The program that I'm working on, that I want to shop to different schools, is actually taking a group of people, of younger people, through the publishing process. Like, I want them to collaborate
Wow.
more so, instead of
Wow.
not competing against each other, but like
Mhm.
writing poetry or doing like short stories and collaborating on those efforts together, so that they can kind of learn that process and see if it's something that they want to do in the future. But it definitely makes a difference, because I was like you. There weren't many like me in my classes, and so even
Mhm.
in my master's um, degree, they didn't get my stories. So if we were critiquing each other, they'd
Mhm.
be like, "I don't get this," and I'm like, "I know you don't get it." You know, like, so
Wow.
it makes a difference when people around you get what you're talking about, and it makes you a little bit more confident that it makes sense.
Mhm. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to share with the audience, before we jump off, like, you've already said like your future
Hmm.
ideas or your goals for your company, which I'm excited about. You
Thank
know,
you.
I'm real excited, especially if you start writing movies. I'm excited about it. Make sure to please send me the link,
I
Christian, to
am,
the
for the
book,
book.
because I will definitely purchase it. I don't care if it's Audible or not, I'll still purchase it.
Okay.
If I have to, because my attention span, because I run this channel, I work, I bake,
Right.
I do so much that my attention span is short, but I still do hold it's certain books that I still will sit down and read.
Right.
So I'm not going to just purchase it, and I'm going to read it as well, because I like this has been like an exciting interview for me. Like, I can't
Good.
even
Me
get the words
too.
out. Sometimes I think faster than what I can talk, so I stumble over my words sometimes.
That's why I
But
write.
uh, I want you to tell the audience like what we can look forward to from Dynamic Image, from you yourself, specifically, where we can find your work. For my audience, you guys know I'm going to always post the links in the description box and the comment section, but sometimes it's best to hear it at the
Yeah.
end of the interview as well. So I'm going to let you speak, Miss Cashelle. Let us know what you got coming up in these next few months.
Yes, ma'am. And then Sent asked the same thing in the chat: long term and short term goals. So I actually just put a novella out, The Last Bachelor Left, in February. So that's available on Amazon and on our website. I am creating an anthology called Stop Walking with Your Head Down: A Woman's Guide to
Wow.
Confidence. So that will be out in the fall. I don't have an exact date yet, but it is coming this fall. And I'm really excited about that, collabing with women about overcoming insecurities and being able to still
Mhm.
walk in their purpose with confidence and stop walking with our heads down because we should not be doing that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let me read something to you real quick, Miss Cashelle. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I keep cutting you
No, you're
off.
fine. Go
I'm
ahead.
very sorry for that. But I want to let me because I don't want you to think that I'm saying this is amazing and I'm just being fake. Let me share
Okay.
something with you on why I'm sitting here with goosebumps. And Sin had an emergency, so she couldn't be at the last the Wednesday live that I did with the other young lady. But so
Hmm.
far, you three ladies have given me goosebumps. And talking to y'all, I'll be happy if it helps the audience, but it's also helped me as well to know that you can literally do anything if you put your mind to it,
Yes.
and my sister is one example of that, but I don't often talk to my sister because she still works like a workaholic. A lot of people think that
Mm.
people, just because they're
Mm.
millionaires, they sit around on a yacht, and no, I barely
Right.
hear. So these interviews are they help to like help me to relive and especially coming out of a depression. Like I went through a
Mm.
depression recently, and so just hearing these interviews, they're very therapeutic, and they remind me that I can still live. And but
Yeah.
you said I'm buying that too, so you need to get with me with the summer so I can push it on this page. But because I'm so excited. But let me get to what I was going to say. So I was going to do this live with the last young lady because she's a counselor and all, and I
Mhm.
wanted Crystal to come back on my channel, and the live I was going to name it "Don't Let Life Beat You Up." And
Mhm.
look at what you said your book name was. And so, yes, I'm definitely purchasing that. So the fact that you said that, I'm like, wow, this must have been divine. This was must have been
Confirmation.
meant to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of us. Like I seen a TikTok from this other black woman. I don't know her name. I meant to get her name and everything when I seen her TikTok, but she said something to me, and all my years in the medical field, I've never heard it before. She said there's a such thing, especially amongst black women, that's called a functional depressants. It's
Mhm.
when you can still like do whatever you normally do, take care of your kids,
Yeah.
run your household, but you're depressed. You
I
know,
saw that TikTok too. I know what you're talking
did you
about.
see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to get a hold of her, and I was like, wow. I said, because when she began to like explain it, I was like, oh my God, I've
Right.
literally lived some of my years as a functional depressant. And
Mhm.
that book, that anthology that you're writing, I definitely need to get it. Not only get it, but push it on this page, because a lot of my viewers do not know that is a lot of black women from behind the scenes that never
Yeah.
come up, that hit me up in the emails and they ask me all kinds of stuff. So I can't wait to get the link for that book and get the PDF so I can push it, because it's going to
Yeah.
help. I believe it's going to help a lot of black women. You
I do
know.
too. Thank you.
Mhm. Sent. I don't know if she's
I'm
with us.
here, but I'm scared to talk. I keep missing all the good stuff. I'm like, if I stay still, just maybe I can just hear what they say. And then as soon as it get good, I say, you know what? I tell our testimony when my stuff don't be messing up. But that's how the devil work. Well, you know
Mhm.
what? I told you
Mhm.
earlier, I ain't giving him that much power. He ain't better than God. Sometimes I just need to process it slower. So maybe listening to it later, maybe I can hear some things that I probably wouldn't have heard because I was, you know, caught up in something else. So
Right.
I
Well,
just
that's
want to
true
thank
for me
you,
too.
thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
Mhm.
in, and I appreciate all of everything that you share with us, and I look forward to everything you got coming up, and hopefully, like all of us, working together. Okay, you
Mhm.
still moving?
Yes.
Okay, so I better be still. It's working still. Um, I want to make sure I say my part. Everybody, this is an amazing interview.
Thank
Everybody
you.
liked it.
Oh man, I think it got her again.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
we're on. You can look up Dynamic Image on any social media platform. The website is DI Publications. We're on Instagram under Dip Books, DIP Books. And then you can also look me up, Christian Cashell. How it's spelled on the screen is how I am on all social media platforms. You can search me on Amazon. All 9 of my books will come up. But if you
Amazing.
search Dynamic Image, all of the rest of them will come up as well.
I like how you said that. All 9 of my books.
Yes.
Yeah. Girl, she giving me. She got. I'm stuttering, y'all. I got goosebumps and everything. I'm sitting over here. My cheeks hurt from smiling. So,
I know, right? I'm like, oh.
yeah, my cheeks hurt. But so, look, I'm stuttering again. Can't get it out. So, I want to address the audience, and I'm addressing the audience, the live audience, and the audience who are going to see this video later on. If you guys have any questions or anything for Miss Cashell, you can always hit my email, and I will post the questions to her. Or I do, like, if she wants to come back up anytime she can. You have my email. You're welcome to hit me up anytime. I'm going to post links to her to Dynamic Image, her publications company. Y'all don't understand. Like, if you're not a writer, you don't understand how big it is, how amazing it is to have a Black woman who has a publishing company. You know, like back in the day, shout out, and no disrespect to Vicky Stringer, but back in the day, it was Vicky Stringer. You know, it was Vicky Stringer. And, you know, I don't really know about how the fall of her company happened, but she was very inspirational to me because she
For
put
sure.
together something. Yeah. So it was like
I wrote a
Vicky
paper on her in
Stringer.
high school, so I'm with you. I was
Yeah.
very inspired by Vicky.
Yeah, like Vicky Stringer, she was like
Mhm.
the
That girl.
masterpiece of the writing world, you know?
Yes.
And I couldn't believe, like, shout out to Terry McMillan and all the other big
Mhm.
authors that have been around since the 90s and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
even back into the 70s, Donald
Yeah.
Goines and all. We've had all these amazing artists and writers, and nobody thought to come up with a publishing company for us.
Right.
Everybody else was going through other people. So to
Yeah.
have
For sure.
somebody come to my channel and grace my channel, and they have their own publishing company, I definitely am grateful, and I'm happy to have you here. Keep
I'm
my
grateful
email,
as
save
well.
it. Don't be a stranger. I don't want to. I don't want this to be a one-time thing. Have the
For
other
sure.
authors hit me up. You guys, like I said, if you guys have any comments or any questions, just put them in the chat below. But at this time, I am going to end the interview. Miss Cashell, congratulations to you.
Thank
Send me
you.
that link for those books because I need them. Sent, thank you for joining us. I hope you ain't out there like hanging onto a pole trying to stick still for the
You know I will. You know I will. You know I will. I might have to take a selfie and show you one day.
I'm sorry, Sid. I put you on blast. I'm sorry. Y'all remember what I say in each one of my videos. Everybody in the audience, remember to be safe, be alert, be aware. This is Miss Cashell. This is Sid. This is Candace Yvette, and we are signing off.
Thank you, ladies.
See y'all later.